All right, it got quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's great to see so many of you here. It's a brisk day. As I said yesterday, I think we experienced all four seasons today. That's spring in Utah, but I'm so happy to see that so many of you have joined us. They put us outside. So we would hurry faster. I know we have a lot of bills to sign. It's a little cold, so we'll try to move along. But I just want to start by this is our second ceremonial bill signing. We looked at water issues yesterday. Just a reminder to everyone, including the press, I've actually already signed these bills. I only get 20 days to sign or veto all 591 bills that were passed by the legislature, and so I have to get through that 20-day period. But now, because there's so many, I like to focus on some of the very best that were passed, to remind Utahns who maybe weren't paying attention or because it was just too much, to see the good things that our legislators did this year. And one of the areas that I was most interested in, if you looked at my budget when we proposed the budget, homelessness was at the top of our list. And it was a grueling session. It was a difficult one, but we ended up in a great place. And I want to thank our legislators. I'm so proud of the work that they did. I want to thank our providers who are here, our nonprofits, our local entities that are here, and just so many good Utahns who have come together to work together on all of this. We know that this is one of the most complex problems in our country today. Our cities and towns, and especially, again, our friends who are experiencing homelessness, we've seen the good in this here in Utah. We have so many compassionate people that are giving back and trying to help people. We've seen the ugly side of this as well, with open drug use, untreated mental illness, and the indignity that comes from tent cities in places all across our country and in some places here in Utah. We know that we can do better. So as a state, we've been working hard with our service providers, our caseworkers, our charities, our churches, our volunteers, local elected officials, business leaders, law enforcement officers, all working together to find solutions. That's the Utah way we come together. And our philanthropic community has really stepped up to support our coordinated approach, led by our incredible homeless service coordinator, Wayne Niederhauser, who is here with us. Wayne, thank you for your work during this session. We appreciate it. Yes, he deserves a round of applause. I will mention that we've added Nick Coleman to his team. Nick's over here. We're excited to have Nick join his team as well as we begin executing on these great advancements that we've made. And this legislative session, we have made real progress in filling gaps in the system with some historic funding investments. For emergency shelters, we received $13.6 million ongoing, which is critical for our work, and $37 million of one-time money. For prevention, including our innovative home court pilot program, we received $726,000 ongoing and $3.7 million one time. And for behavioral health, we received $550,000 ongoing and $10.5 million one time. We also know that the Utah Impact Partnership is committed to raising an additional $15 million, bringing us to a total of $81.2 million in new funding to alleviate homelessness in our state. This is an incredible achievement, historic achievement, and will make a real difference in the lives of some of our most vulnerable Utahns, as well as keeping our communities safe. So before we draw attention to some of these specific bills, I'd like to have Wayne come up to give us an overview of this facility. We're so excited to be here at the Harris Community Village. So Wayne, I'm going to give you a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Governor. Much appreciated your leadership this session on homelessness. Truly, as indicated, a historic effort. I don't recall any session that's had such success with this with homelessness. Let's just talk about some of those things. But before I do, I want to give a deep, heartfelt appreciation to the legislature. Having served in the legislature, I know how difficult it is to decide how to appropriate funds. There's so much need in the state, from A to Z, transportation, education, and I feel like that we really came out in a good way. And so I just want to thank the legislators that are here today, for those who sponsored bills to get us to a better place, and for the appropriations. The results. Vital funding for emergency shelter and services statewide. Greater support for enforcement of no camping ordinances. The establishment of the Utah Homeless Services Board, replacing the Utah Homelessness Council. And the establishment of the Home Court Initiative. All these things are fundamental to our moving forward and addressing homelessness in a better way. I want to thank Carol Hollowell and Switchpoint for hosting this event today. The Harris Community Village exemplifies dedication, collaboration. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But there's 46 shelter beds here, 7 family rooms, and 66 affordable housing units, all in one location. At the end of the day, it's housing and getting people into housing. That's our effort. And this is an example of that progression from being homeless and getting into housing. This facility was an elementary school that was built in 1952. I don't know how many people it is. If you've lived in Tooele probably long enough, many of you attended this. Mayor Wynn and others. And our elementary schools become kind of that center of community. And this is really an extension of that community, where we've gotten the Tooele Housing Authority, the city, Mayor Wynn, Tooele County, Councilman Kendall Thomas is here today. We had all kinds of stakeholders get together and create this facility to have the vision, and homelessness begins in every city. Let's respond where it starts. And Tooele, you're an amazing example of this, and I just want to applaud you for your efforts here. So where did it start? Pastor Rick, thank you for your energy, your vision, and your leadership in getting this started and moving this along. It really comes down to 4 words: the power of community. This is the power of community and addressing issues that are vital to that community. I also want to give a shout out to our providers of homeless services statewide. We have great providers with dedicated employees who are not getting rich working in homeless services, but are dedicated to helping relieve the human aspects that come with homelessness. And we applaud you for your efforts, your dedication, and energy to homelessness. Governor, turn the time back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Wayne. We appreciate you and your leadership. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to move this along, this is what we're going to do. I've got all the bills in front of me, and I know you're seeing there's a lot. There are 2 bills here for each one. I've already pre-signed one of those, so that will save us a little bit of time. We also have, we talk every year as we get ready for the legislative session, we talk about our big rocks, the biggest things. This was one of our big rocks, and we have little rocks holding down all the bills so they don't blow away. So I appreciate that. Now, we're going to ask legislators to come up and tell us a little bit about the bill. I want to remind them that I've already signed the bills. You don't need to convince me. So so just be brief with your description of the bills, and invite anyone you want to come up with you, and then we'll take a picture together with each signed bill, and then we'll move on to the next one. So the first bill is HB 298, Homeless Service Amendments. Representative Tyler Clancy was the bill sponsor. Senator Kirk Collimore was the floor sponsor. Representative Clancy. And I do have to say, there a little bit of this is the Clancy show, which we love. He's taken on these issues. He's been a true champion and a proud partner. Thank you, Ty.
Well, thank you, Governor Cox. I was actually eating lunch the other day with former Speaker Brad Wilson, and he said, "I saw a picture of you from like 2 years ago. You look so young. What happened?" Well, this is what happened. We're working hard on these issues. Governor Cox kicked off the legislative session by talking about homelessness in the State of the State address. And the governor's office, with President Niederhauser, Nick Coleman, Neil Abercrombie, Governor Cox himself, really being the engine behind taking a new way forward on this issue. With homelessness, it's one of those issues where it's very easy to articulate what we don't want to be like. We've seen across the country in San Francisco, Portland, and other places like that, where they look at the suffering, the human suffering in some of these large homeless encampments, and the answer is to turn a blind eye, to not enforce the law, give out tinfoil and crack pipes, and hope that that works. We know that that's not the answer, but always the question is, well, what is? With Governor Cox signing House Bill 298, and I know you said you already signed it, but I am looking over your shoulder to just make sure. Don't unconvince you. No. We did 4 important things with HB 298. The first is that we took our own approach in defining what homelessness is. We codified common sense. We know that a mother fleeing domestic violence with her 2 children that experiences homelessness is going to have a different intervention that she needs than an individual who's been living unsheltered homelessness for 3 to 4 years, maybe smoking fentanyl or injecting meth. We know that, and our policies are now going to reflect it. The second piece, as Governor Cox alluded to, is that we took a 29 individual council, larger than the state Senate, and pared it down to an 11-person board that's really going to be the driving force to some of these new forward-thinking policies. The third is enforcing the law consistently and compassionately. As you listen to Governor Cox and President Niederhauser and other leaders today, like Representative Elison, speak, listen to how they describe and talk about our homeless brothers and sisters. It is not with contempt. It is not with vitriol. In Utah, we understand that every single person sleeping under a bridge, sleeping under a ditch, sleeping in a sleeping bag on the sidewalk, that their soul has eternal worth. And we care about you too much to let you sleep in what I would consider slow motion suicide on our streets. We're going to enforce the law. We're going to connect you with services and make sure that you can reach that next level of human dignity. And finally, just to quote a political role model of mine, former Congressman Jack Kemp, who said, "America ought to measure our success not by the amount of help we give, but by how many people don't need help anymore when they move through our system." That's what HB 298 does, is we're looking at accountability metrics and making sure that as people flow through our system, that we measure success based on how many people can move on to self-sufficiency. As you're looking here in Twill, it's a perfect example. So Governor Cox, thank you for being a champion for this issue, and thank you all of you for all the work you do.
Thank you, Representative. All right, we need people to come up here. Anybody who worked on this bill, anybody who's interested in this bill,
Tiffany,
come on up. We've got a
Michael,
lot of people.
Jim, Steve.
And most of you can just stay up here for all the bills. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and sign this one.
We got to get closer.
All right. Tyler, I'm going to hand this to you. I'm going to hold a copy, and we're going to smile here for the camera. Perfect. All right, thank you. Tyler, stay up here. We're going to have you do 299 court-ordered treatment modifications.
Okay. Well, HB 299, Senator Bramble and I worked hard on this one with many of the same and new stakeholders. to be succinct, I know that's cliche as a legislature. We're never succinct, but we have the courage to care for individuals in Utah who are experiencing severe and persistent mental illness. HB 299 moves us from the bottom of the pack when it comes to pink sheets, also known as an emergency and voluntary commitment, from the bottom of the pack at 24 hours to 72 hours. This is giving our medical professionals and our mental health professionals more time, more resources to be able to help individuals in crisis have an exit destination to where they can get more long-term treatment if they do not stabilize in that time. The second piece is that as we are in this game of politics, many times we're presented with a false choice, that we can have more security or more public safety only if we reduce our civil liberties. HB 299 and Senator Bramble was integral on this part in particular, that we made sure that individuals who are civilly committed or involuntarily committed through the pink sheet or blue sheet process, that they're going to have a case report. They're going to make sure that they know why they were committed, the medications they were given, and resources to make sure that we're not discharging people back into homelessness. So a big thank you to Senator Bramble and everyone else who worked on this. I could go down the line, but once again, thank you, Governor Cox and the entire administration for being a champion for those who can't advocate for themselves.
Thank you. Senator Bramble, would you join us? And anybody else that's worked on this one? Senator, anything you'd like to add to this one?
It's great being Clancy's sidekick.
Perfect. Tyler, anybody else you'd like to have up here?
Is Tiffany Price here? I thought she was here.
She's here. Tiffany, come join us. I so appreciate everything that Representative Clancy said on both of these bills. This is what's unique about Utah. We've seen pendulums swing too far one way and too far another way. We're trying to bring both of those things together. We can be compassionate. We can hold people accountable. We can get them treatment and help them. And we'll sign this one. All right. Give that to you. Thank you as well. And okay. Smile for Nick. Senator, do that. Thank you. Well done. Okay, I don't think we have either Representative Strong or Senator Ipsen here. Let me just mention this bill. It's HB 394, Homeless Service Funding Amendments, and this bill requires the Homeless Network Steering Committee to develop a distribution formula and outlines the requirements for that formula. Basically, this is a big part of what we're trying to do to make sure that we have a statewide homelessness program, that it's not just Salt Lake City or Salt Lake County, that we really are working with Tooele and we're working with Washington County, we're working with Cache County and Logan and Ogden, making sure that we get that funding formula right so that everybody benefits from that. So we're grateful for their good work, and we'll set that one aside. Next up, we have HB 421, Homeless and Vulnerable Populations Amendment. Representative Steve Elison was the bill sponsor, and Senator Kirk Collimore was the Senate sponsor. Representative Elison.
Thank you, Governor. Since the bill has been signed, I can summarize this in under 15 minutes. So,
perfect.
So Bishop Desmond Tutu once said, eventually you have to go upstream and find out why the bodies are falling in the river. HB 421 attempts to do that, as well as continue our focus, we'll just say downstream. Thanks to the governor's leadership on this issue in his budget, he requested funds for a home court pilot program in Salt Lake County, which will be critical in terms of diverting people from the criminal justice system into the appropriate clinical and behavioral health and substance use disorder treatment programs that can help break a cycle. When we have people that have been arrested over 300 times, something's not working, and this is an attempt to break that cycle. Another key part of this is we've learned that too many individuals are being discharged from our state hospital, which is a wonderful facility with fabulous leadership, some of which are here today. Too often when patients are discharged, they don't have a place to go and they end up homeless and the cycle begins again. So this puts prioritization that they can use existing funds to contract with step-down facilities, as well as for if they don't have sufficient capacity there, at a bare minimum in our homeless resource centers, make sure those individuals are prioritized. Another thing that it does is puts priority in place for our homeless resource centers. This is a very troubling statistic I'm going to share with you. I actually just came from a Road Home Board meeting. In their family shelter in Midvale, they currently have a waiting list of 100 families. The facility only serves 80 families. This has never happened before. And unfortunately, a lot of those individuals cannot step out quickly enough because of they're not eligible for programs. So this is going to prioritize individuals that can be best helped in these facilities so we can increase the number of people that we help. We also walk a fine line between helping people step out of homelessness and back into our community, as well as making sure that we have law and order in our community. So another thing the bill does is make sure that in order to receive mitigation funds, that our shelter cities that are hosting these facilities are enforcing no camping and pedestrian safety amendments, sometimes called no panhandling laws. So it's got a lot of things. The last thing it does is I'm sitting up here kind of shivering with the rest of you. It increases the code blue threshold from 15 degrees to 18 degrees, which means on the coldest nights, individuals will have more places to go without as many administrative hurdles to get through. It'll actually increase the number of code blue nights by about 50%. And so that will help get people off the streets and hopefully connected to services. So that's a brief summary of what the bill does. Huge thanks to the governor. I have to give him a special shout out because it was pretty ambitious for him to try to recruit a former Senate president to come work for his administration, which he did. And surprisingly, President Niederhauser agreed. He could be out making a lot more money as a lobbyist, but he's focused on homelessness, has made a huge difference. He's out on the weekends, on the front lines. So huge thanks to the governor for his leadership there and for President Niederhauser for all that he does. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. And anybody you'd like to have come up for this one? I have to say it would not be a bill signing focusing on homelessness without Representative Elison. He has been in this space for so many years. He helped bring me into this space, and as all of you know, those here, once you kind of get in this space, it gets into you, and that's why the former Senate president is with us. So let's go ahead and sign this one. All right, Representative, give you this copy, and let's get a picture here together. Here's a pen. I'll let you keep that. Okay, everybody smile here for Nick.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up, we have Senate Bill 26, Behavioral Health Licensing Amendments. The bill sponsor was Senator Kurt Bramble. The floor sponsor was Representative Corey Malloy. Senator Bramble, the microphone is yours. This was one of our big rocks as well, I will say.
Well, thank you, Governor. You know, when we look at mental health, when we recognized that there's roughly twice as many individuals in Utah that need some form of mental health services, and we weren't able to provide it. That's really what Senate Bill 26 does. But the history behind Senate Bill 26 is far broader. When Governor Cox was first elected, the very first executive order that he issued was to look at our licensing and our business regulations and see where we could remove barriers to entry into professions, barriers into the economy, and barriers to providing services for citizens. Senate Bill 26 took on all of the mental health disciplines. It moved a whole bunch of folks' cheese, so to speak. There was a lot of turf that we needed to address. But there's a number of individuals besides Governor Cox, his team, Margaret Bussey, Jeff Shumway, too many to name, that laid the foundation for taking a critical look at the hours of service, the type of supervision, the type of criteria to get licensed. What do you do if you have a degree in psychology and you want to try on mental health services as a profession? It's a very comprehensive bill that would not have been possible without the governor's leadership, without the director of the Department of Commerce, Margaret Bussey, without the new Office of Professional Licensing Reviews Director, Jeff Shumway, and all of the team that helped make it happen. As a sponsor, it's really easy when the ground is fertile, it's plowed, the seeds are planted, and all you have to do is come harvest the outcome. And that's, as a sponsor, that's what Representative Malloy and I were faced with. All of the heavy lifting was done by the governor's staff and by the Office of Professional Licensing Review, and the advocates and the the various associations and the folks involved in the profession. So, Governor, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Senator. Come join us up here. And anybody, love to have Margaret's team and anybody else that helped on this one. I will tell you, we're going to miss this man. And when you need a tough one, he's the guy you go to. And we knew this would be a tough one, but we're so grateful, as he mentioned, to the associations and everybody who came together. We desperately need more people in the mental health space, and this will get us those people. All right, we all here? Okay, let's go ahead and sign this. All right, Senator, give you that. I'll hold this one, and we'll get a picture. Perfect. Thank you. All right, we're getting closer. Senate Bill 27, Behavioral Health System Amendments. The bill sponsor was Senator Evan Vickers. The floor sponsor was Representative Elison. Representative Elison, we'll have you take this one.
Thank you, Governor. Two of the prior bills, including the one that Representative Clancy sponsored, HB 298, had components related to our state homeless council. Well, unfortunately, we've never really had a state central behavioral health council or commission. This bill does just that. Long past due, but we're finally here. The bill creates the Behavioral Health Commission and places it under the Department of Health and Human Services. It takes a number of the committees that we've had out there trying to doing great things and brings them under the one central authority that'll bring local governments, state government, legislature, and health systems under one umbrella to work together to try to navigate some of the very complex issues we're still dealing with. When we know that suicide is the leading cause for children in Utah, the #1 cause of disability, according to World Health Organization, we have so much to do there still. The bill will help set the roadmap from a policy, a legislative perspective moving forward. And I'll give a special shout out to our former Lieutenant Governor, Greg Bell, and to Laura Summers and so many others that have worked on the behavioral health master plan with the Gardner Institute and so many other stakeholders, many of which are here today. When we do the signing, please come up because there's too many to name. That will lay the roadmap that this commission is going to be using to move forward as we look at critical system changes, compromises, and additional funding as we try to improve the world of behavioral health for so many that are suffering. So thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Representative. Let's have all of you come up, please. Is there anybody else out there? I know there's a lot more than this, so don't be shy. Come get in the picture. Who else are we missing? Come on. Yeah, Mayor Wayne, come up here, please. Okay. Good to see you. Anybody else?
Amy, get up here.
Amy. You get to be bossy. We're up here. All right. We all here? Okay, let's go ahead and sign. Perfect. There you go, Representative. Thank you. All right, smiles. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. We can do that. as we're getting ready to sign the next one, I do want to give a special recognition. There was so much work done on this. I mentioned before by our local governments. That includes the Utah Association of Counties. I think Brandy's here. It's great to see you, and the league as well. The League of Cities and Towns also represented here today. Cam, thank you to both of you for all of your input in making this work. We know that so much of the mental health piece is on the backs of the counties, and so much of the homeless response is on the back of the cities. And so we can't do this. I'm proud that the state is playing a bigger role now to support all of our counties and all of our cities, which we haven't done in the past. So thank you for your leadership. Next up, we have, let's see, Senate Bill 139 is Senator Stephanie Pitcher. Is Senator Pitcher? There she is. And Representative Nelson Abbott was the floor sponsor. Senator Pitcher, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Governor Cox. It's a pleasure to be here, and we really appreciate you including this bill in your list. This was my favorite bill this session. The bill came to me actually from a former colleague, Chief Butcher, who I think is here in the back somewhere. There you are. A former colleague at Davis County. He works in the Davis County Jail and identified a problem and a path forward. And so this bill deals with competency restoration in our county jails. And what the chief identified is that when we have individuals that come through our justice system and they're found incompetent, they're then sent to the state hospital for competency restoration. Most of the time, those individuals, when they're sent back to the jail after restoration, stay on top of their medication, they do what they need to do, and they're eventually able to face trial. But in a minority of cases, we have some individuals who refuse medication and they slowly slip back into a state of incompetency, at which point we then send them back to the state hospital, and it creates this cyclical process, which is a strain on resources. It increases the length of their pretrial incarceration, and it also delays justice for victims. And so this bill does is it gives county jails tools to take an active role in the participation of maintaining that competency. And it also creates a legal mechanism where the judge can order that at the beginning of the case instead of, down the line once there are delays and continued pretrial detention. And so I love this bill. It was also, the process was really fun for me. We didn't really have any opposition. It was just a great bill, and we found ways to make it better and ensure that this bill also complies with case law on this topic. So thank you so much for having us and
Thank you, Senator.
recognizing the bill.
Perfect. Thank you. And anybody you'd like to have come join us?
Okay.
Chief? I just want to say, Representative Abbott, it's great to see you. This is the benefit of having a part-time legislature. You get experts in their field, people who have real-life experience and have these connections and can help run these bills. And I would also just point out you have a Democrat and a Republican running bills together, which we're always proud to see. So thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and sign this one. Go, Senator. Ready that. And let's get a picture together. Representative, this is yours. Representative, anything you would add here, please?
Well, I appreciate all of your great work in this area. I think this is a very important bill, and I think one of the struggles that we face with a lot of people that face mental illness is, unfortunately for a lot of those people, it's not a curable illness, so it's something that needs to be managed over their entire life. And this bill brings more continuity to that process and helps them to maintain that management over a longer period of time. And I think that's the direction that really helps them and helps us as a society as we move forward. So
Excellent.
thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Thanks to all of you. Okay, we've got two left. Senate Bill 212, Substance Use Treatment in Correctional Facilities. Senator Jen Plum was the bill sponsor, and Representative Christine Watkins was the floor sponsor. Senator Plum.
Thank you. Is it working? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Governor. It's a little bit of a lineup to follow. So to all y'all that have done this amazing work, thanks for laying the groundwork, and also for kind of demonstrating that folks really can come together and do good policy. 212 for me, it's funny. I didn't expect to get a little emotional. I'm finding myself a little emotional right here because if you would have told me a decade ago that we would put a bill through and have unanimous support in both the House and the Senate for medication-assisted treatment in our incarceration and prison settings, I would have said, yeah, whatever. I wouldn't have, there was still just too much around it. And to watch this happen and to Representative Watkins laid the groundwork, we're setting it up in our jails. And then us realizing, wow, we're doing great things in the jail and the prison isn't set up to do it. So we start it in the jail and then stop it. And no, that's not what anybody wanted. So to do this and to see the folks in DHHS stepping into that space and being really willing and have it be one of their talking points about how crucial it is, this bill is really going to save lives and change lives and help support folks staying on paths to wellness. So I'm really grateful that we got the opportunity to get it through.
Thank you, Senator. Thanks for your leadership. Hey, anybody you'd like to come join us?
Well, I didn't even think to bring a posse, but I see some of my recovery folks
Yeah,
and the
your
DHHS
posse's
folks
here.
and the,
Let's
yes,
get 'em out
please.
here.
I mean, my
Yeah.
posse includes some pugs in the car, which I'm not sure you're ready for that, but
We love your pugs too.
it's the pugs
So-
in the car. It's the thing.
Okay, we got the band back together. This is great.
Yes, exactly.
We'll go ahead and sign. Okay. Senator, I'm going to give you that, and then we're going to take a
Thank
picture
you.
here.
Okay.
Got a smile for Nick?
Be official.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks, everyone.
Continue.
All right, last and certainly not least, Senator Plum, you're going to stay up here.
Still not
This
least.
is SB 223 Youth Fee Waiver Amendments, and the floor sponsor was Representative Stephanie Gracious.
Yeah. Again, this like collaboration between some issues are not even just bipartisan, they're nonpartisan. And that's how I feel a lot of these spaces are. Let's do good work regardless of letters, after names, et cetera. And this bill is one of those small early legislator steps, baby steps, incremental change towards removing barriers for folks as they're trying to get to better spaces. And this bill essentially it has a fee waiver, removes the cost to get driver's licenses and birth certificates and what do you call them, transcripts from colleges for our kids that have been in foster care or aged out, and also for our youth experiencing homelessness. Maybe, I don't know, plant a few seeds. Maybe there's hope to expand it up out of this. Just let's be thinking about it. I'm looking, Wayne and I are nodding at each other. Anyway, this is a good bill.
Still lieutenant, yeah.